Thanks to PlayStation Canada, I've been playing Rise of the Ronin. And well, I can't lie to you, the game's pretty fun. I've been having a blast with it. The preview's going to be about 100 to 120 minutes into the game. I'm not going to do any story spoilers or anything like that. I'm just going to talk the basics with you and let you know what I truly feel about this game so far. If you like our Three Dads in a Console content, please drop us a like and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. So let's jump into it. Rise of the Ronin wasn't on my radar. Even after the first trailer we saw at the State of Play in September 2022, I was still skeptical. The reason is Team Ninja was making the game, and usually their action role-playing games with brutal difficulty spikes just don't speak to me. I've tried many Souls-like games, and the difficulty spikes just aren't my thing. But I respect the developer for the vision and the storytelling. They are good games to some, and a large fan base even adores them. What I saw in that trailer made me wish I liked those games. As a huge fan of Assassin's Creed games, because of the gameplay and the trips they take us through time, I always ask for a samurai Assassin's Creed game. When I played 2020's Ghost of Tsushima, I was floored and instantly fell in love with the game and its setting. When finding out that Rise of the Ronin had difficulty settings during the first sneak peek, it jumped to the top of my list, and I was so excited to play it. Who wouldn't want to play a game set in the late 1800s in Japan during the Edo period that had you smack dab in the middle of a war between the anti-shogunate and the pro-shogunate? Don't worry, I'm not here to give you a history lesson, but if what I said intrigues you or you don't know much about it, I suggest you research it because it's fascinating. As I said previously, I'm only going to discuss the first 100 minutes or so of the game, and I can promise you there will be no spoilers, as I feel the story is meant to be experienced after playing the game. I will refer to what has been shared about the game through blog posts or trailers and my experience playing the game's first section. Your protagonist is from the Kurosarkan, and your trained warrior of the Veiled Edge. The Veiled Edge is the name of the village where you live, where they also practice the veiled arts. Your family was lost and destroyed by shogunate spies. At the beginning of the game, you and your blade twin are tasked to assassinate Commodore Matthew Perry. And honestly, there's no relation to the Friend star of the same name, but you can be sure the TV theme song jumped right into my brain and it wouldn't leave me the whole time I was battling this guy. During this battle, you are met with one of many decisions you will be made to make along your journey that shape how you play Rise of the Ronin. You'll meet who I only can assume is the main enemy, who is called the Blue Demon, before returning to your village. Rise of the Ronin is a game about choices, and how those choices shape your gameplay. I genuinely don't want to give any more away about the story, as I feel Team Ninja has done a great job weaving a web of choices and consequences through my playthrough so far that I want everyone to experience them for themselves. Rise of the Ronin has a very in-depth character creator screen to make your protagonist look any way you want, like seriously. It's huge, but for me, I'm more of a default character type player, and nearly every game I play, I just don't do anything in the character creator screen. As you progress in the story, you can even change how your protagonist looks if you change your mind. As I mentioned, Team Ninja made Rise of the Ronin about choices, and even how your character looks or sounds is up to you. After choosing how you would like to look, your character, and sound, you will be met with another choice. The choice is your playing style, which they refer to as the origin of the Rise of the Ronin. Each origin has its perks, preferred weapons, and special skill. You must choose your origin and what you like to play like. You're not stuck with this origin though if you want to switch when playing the game, as you can change that later on in the game when you unlock the Longhouse in Yokohama. The origins are Unsharpened, Beginner, Sapper, Seducer, Breaker, and Killer. I chose Breaker as my playstyle, and it's more stealthy with your specialty skills being rapid assassination. When playing action RPGs, I tend to lean towards a stealth approach when available. But I'm thinking about trying out Killer, which would allow you to take enemies more head-on, and your special skill is repelled arrows. Team Ninja, I felt, is having a little fun with the description of these origins, as Unshapen is described as a weakling whose ineptness has resulted in their lack of blade sharpening origin. These veiled edges, known only the most basic of skills, have poor attributes to boot. As mentioned, you can choose the difficulty settings in Rise of the Ronin. This was Team Ninja's most controversial choice, as it divided gamers on social media. Honestly, for some reason, I just don't get it. I will never understand communities like gamers that always preach inclusivity but become divided on things that shouldn't matter, like how someone likes to play a video game. I would have passed on Rise of the Ronin if the game had no difficulty options. The difficulty settings are Dawn, Dusk, and Twilight. Dawn is the least difficult, and Twilight offers the more Souls-like gameplay. Before the game releases, the producers of the game, now honestly, I'm totally going to get this wrong. I do apologize. Like, seriously, this is going to be really bad. Yusuke Hasahi and Fumiku Yasudu stated, "It's obvious that Team Ninja titles are not designed to be easy to play for everyone," he said. "But we wanted to make this title more accessible to a wide range of players. We have developed 3 distinct difficulty modes that players can choose based on their preferences. The first is for storytelling-oriented players who want to live the story and play without much difficulty. Then we have the intermediate mode for players used to this kind of experience. Finally, we have way more challenging mode that fits more closely with our previous games and meets the needs to hardcore players and Souls-like fans. They offer some user accessibility settings as well that I sure took advantage of. All these settings can be adjusted at any time during your playthrough. Everything from controller mapping to having it so the R and L buttons are presumed to be held down for your guard, ready sub-weapon, combat styles, and weapons HUD. Some settings I took advantage of were automatic additional attacks, aim assist, auto-collect items, auto-crouch, and auto-grab. Automatic additional attacks have the protagonist automatically perform basic combos with one press of the button. I feel auto-collect items should be the default in most games. This may seem small to some, but they allow you to only have to hold down the button once, like for run, which then continually do until you press the button again. This makes the gameplay experience more enjoyable, plus, honestly, it's less strain on the controller. There are settings to adjust for input methods, game controls, control assist, vibration, camera controls, language, subtitle settings, audio effects, and cinematics. Yes, you can turn off motion blur, which is set at default, so make sure you turn it off. Honestly, at this point, I don't know why games put motion blur in. As you enter this open world Edo period Japan, you will see the art style Team Ninja was going for. They have 3 graphical settings, prioritize FPS graphics, and ray tracing. Ray tracing can be only turned on in the start menu, but switching between FPS mode or graphics can be done in the game. I prioritized FPS as I want my combat to be smooth as possible, and it's my choice in almost all games I play. I would be lying if I said that even with ray tracing mode, visuals, they don't blow me away. This is the only criticism I can throw right now at Rise of the Ronin during my playthrough so far. I wouldn't say the game looks terrible, but it doesn't look graphically as beautiful as, say, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut or Horizon Forbidden West. I would say that during my playthrough so far, I have barely noticed it because I'm too busy enjoying other aspects of the game and the art style that Team Ninja chose to follow. The game looks great, but I do notice the draw distance from time to time and pop-in of some elements in the foreground and the background. The gameplay and story certainly make up for the graphical shortcoming. The world itself isn't too large and doesn't take endless amounts of time to cross the map or get to objectives. Rise of the Ronin, I feel, respects your time. I say this often when talking about video games because in my day-to-day life, I don't have absorbent amount of time to dump 80 hours into a video game. Far too many games lately have these sizable open world maps but have nothing in between places of interest except a couple of NPCs and filler. Rise of the Ronin feels condensed and focuses more on the action, as there's always something to do or enemies to fight around almost every corner. Whether you're using the glider, which is honestly so awesome, or a horse, it takes no time to get across the map. The traversal system also helps you get around the open world, and it's honestly a lot of fun. Using the grappling hook, get up to high spaces, or even combining it with the glider makes for some combo. Using the grappling hook to get to high places or even combining it with the glider makes for some fun combos. You can even use the glider to call for your horse to transfer directly into riding from the gliding. Combat is challenging yet rewarding. Like most Souls-like games, it uses the parry system, and I did die a lot initially. When used properly though, the parry system, called Counterspark, can neutralize enemies' attacks. I felt the difficulty level was high early on in the game, but your character becomes more powerful as you progress, while the enemies around you don't. Each region doesn't level up to your character, stopping you from going rogue across the map though to unlock other secrets, because the enemies in other areas, they will kill you quickly. You can switch stance mid-fight and your enemies will have red or blue indicators letting you know if your stance will be used against them that might actually hurt them. Your stance will also do the job if the color indicator is gray. Each stance has moveset that you can do in combat, which you do get a tutorial on how to use, but if you need a refresher, you can see them in the pause menu under the combat style. When an enemy flashes red before attack, it will be their strong attack. But don't worry, you can parry these as well, but it will need perfect timing. The brutality of the combat adds to the game. In many games, using a sword, they stay away from the gruesome deaths, but not Rise of the Ronin. Chopping off heads and limbs with blood squirting out is the norm. You and your enemies have stamina, which is called ki, and it helps you inflict more damage on an enemy and slow you down when it's low. The amount of blood on your sword affects your ki, but can be replenished with a simple flick of the R1 immediately after an attack, which will flick the blood off your sword and replenish portions of your ki. And it looks pretty cool at the same time. You can instill fear into the enemies, making them more vulnerable to strong attacks from you, which you can see red with a circle on your enemy. That red circle will appear when the enemy is close to death or when you've made them fear you from an attack you placed on another enemy, and then you just press the triangle and you'll do a strong attack on them. The enemy types vary, and it doesn't feel like you're consistently fighting the same NPC. There's many training facilities across the map which will help you either with your combat skills or your traversal skills. You can use assassination on unsuspecting enemies and almost clear areas without alerting nearby enemies. You can hide in the tall grass or traverse rooftops to avoid enemy detection. In addition to your swords, staffs, and katanas, you have more modern weapons like rifles, pistols, and throwables to take down enemies. You can also craft items to use in combat and even use them to set your katana on fire to your attacks, but you're going to have to go to a blacksmith to craft those things. Enemies are not only in the form of people, but the animals in the world will also attack you. As you progress, there are skills to unlock that will help you tame those animals, so you don't have to feel bad about killing them if that bothers you. You won't be alone in the world as you meet many companions who will help you upgrade your skills or assist you in battle. They have implemented a bond system in Rise of the Ronin that will grow if you choose to friend one of these characters, complete tasks with them, or give them gifts. I want the characters you meet along the way to be a surprise, but I'm sure you'll have your favorites as I do. One of the items you need to collect worldwide is petting cats, which I have said before, more games need to have pet animals as a thing in video games. The characters you bond with will be in your longhouse from time to time and will interact with you and your cats. You can give those characters gifts to increase your bond with them. The gift you can collect throughout the open world. Increasing your bond with characters will help you level up your character, unlock skills, and gain items. There are many items on the map to collect, and they become visible as you unlock Veiled Edge banners, which are all over the map, but can be used for fast travel once unlocked. Unlocking public orders also unlocks villages that enemies have overrun. You will see them on your map with a red indicator or in the open world if you look for clouds of smoke. Once you kill all the enemies in the village, you will open up more icons on the map, gain skill points, increase your bond with that region. Shrines will be on the map as well, which you can pray to, unlock skill points to upgrade your character. They do an excellent job of not cluttering the map with too many items to collect or interact with. All items that show up on the map to interact with will give you skill points or rewards for your characters. As with many RPGs, there's a skill tree for your protagonist. The skills are located in the pause menu under stats and are broken down into strengths, dexterity, charm, and intellect. The skill tree isn't huge at all, but I suggest looking it over to see what skills you would like to upgrade based on how you want to play the game. And they also let you know every single skill that you're going to be able to use, so you can actually plan out what you want to do. Acquiring skill points is fairly straightforward, and you will find that you can upgrade your character rather quickly if you choose to clear the map before proceeding to the next story beat. Along with the skills to upgrade, you will see in the pause menu the equipment you can change throughout your play as you upgrade your character. There are blacksmiths and black market shops to buy weapons and sub-weapons, but you can find enough chests or earn items from enemies and missions in the open world. Regarding your level you choose to play on, or your playstyle, Rise of the Ronin offers the player's choice. If you decide to play this as a Souls-like, you can, because they allow the player to play the game they want to play. Nothing feels forced. An essential theme I've noticed is the number of choices I get to make and how I play Rise of the Ronin. It's not the cinematic masterpiece like a Ghost of Tsushima that feels grounded as well, but it has a fantastic story so far, engaging combat with a bit of an arcade feel. Rise of the Ronin respects your time and it's engaging. I've had a hard time putting it down so far, and I truly enjoy playing it. I have liked so much that I haven't been able to even play any of the new content in Helldivers 2. In the gaming world of many live service games and 80-hour epics, it's fantastic to see a game with rewarding combat, compelling story, and a historic world building. It feels like the game I need right now, and it allows me to get lost in a world and have fun simultaneously. It's shaping up to be one of my favorite games I've played this year, and I can't wait to finish this preview and go back and play some more. So get hyped for Rise of the Ronin, because I think Team Ninja has something special here. If you like the content here over at 3 Dads in a Console, please drop us a like and subscribe. Thank you.